Anjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rūpa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rūpam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Friday and Saturday morning series on Sri Rūpa Śikṣā, teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Rūpa Goswami. We are almost coming to the end of the last few verses in the Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta chapter 19. We have discussed Mahaprabhu's main instructions to Rūpa Goswami about pure devotional service, how rare it is, and the definition of pure devotional service, and what are the symptoms or the characteristics of pure devotional service. And there are other topics which Mahaprabhu is relating, which is about the different rasas, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. First the ratis and then the rasas, the Mukhya rasas, the Gaun rasas. And after discussing this subject, then we come to the Aishwarya Gyan and the Madhurya Gyan. Attachment to Krishna is based on awe and reverence and based on pure love, where there is no awe and reverence. So this was what is the theme we had been discussing in the last class, if you remember. We defined what is Aishwarya Gyan and what is Madhurya Gyan. And if you have to remember the example of that boiling milk where there is grass in it. So Krishna manifests his Aishwarya Gyan like the grass coming up, but those who are in awe and reverence, the grass remains on the top. They have that knowledge that Krishna is supreme. But those who are Madhurya Bhaktas, Madhurya here refers not to Madhurya Ras, but the Vraj Bhaktas, although Krishna manifests his opulence, but their pure love is so deep that they still don't consider him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the purity of Raja Bhakti. And we discussed these two types of attachment, with and without reverence. So in these verses, we discussed the Aishwarya Gyan and the Madhurya Gyan. And this was a very important point we had discussed, that Shanta Dasya Rase Aishwarya Kahan Uddipan. So in Shanta and Dasya, the Aishwarya Gyan is the impetus for the devotees who are situated there. In the Dasya Ras, oh, Krishna is Prabhu, I am just his servant. So based on this relationship, there is service. But in the Vatsalya, Sakya and Madhurya, this Aishwarya Gyan cripples the opulence of Krishna. And this we saw the example of Devaki and Vasudev. When they realized, oh, Krishna is the Supreme Lord who killed Kamsa, although they wanted to embrace, they are both children because they are meeting after 11 years. Krishna, when he was born, he left. Vasudeva took him to Gokul. And now after 11 years, they are having darshan of Krishna. But yet they don't want to embrace him, understanding his supremacy. So this is what happened. This is where we discussed in the last class. We discussed the purport of Rūpa, and we had some question answers. Now the second example of how in Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya, it becomes Sankochita, Sankochana. First example is given of Madhurya, Vatsalya, Devaki and Vasudev. The second is given of Arjuna in Sakyaras. Krishnera Vishwarupa Deki Arjunera Hoila Bhoy Sakya Bhave Darshite Shamapaya Kariya Vinay. When Krishna manifested his universal form, Krishnera Vishwarupa Deki, Arjuna became reverent and fearful. Arjuna hola bhoy. And he begged forgiveness, Shamapaya, for his past impudence. Sakya Bhave Darshite Karay Vinay, towards Krishna as a friend. Sakya Bhave, as a friend. As a friend, how Arjuna treated Krishna, he understood now his opulence. Oh, he is not just my friend, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, then Arjuna, when he became aware, then he asked forgiveness. So let us, anyone knows where Arjuna is praying like this to Krishna? In which chapter of the Gita it is there? Anyone knows? Which chapter of the Gita this is there? Yes, Prabhuji.
Chapter number 11.
And you know the verses?
Not
Okay. You know at least how it begins with?
Yeah, Vishwarupa showing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we should become thorough with the Gita. Where is what? Every verse we should know. Saketi matva prasabham yaduktam he Krishna he Yadav he Saketi ajanata mahimam tavedam maya pramadat pranayena vapi yachavasartamasat kritosi Vihara Shayanasana Bhojaneshu Ekothavyapachyutat Samaksham Tat Shameya Tvam Aham Aprameyam. Actually, I should have translated the translation of the verse here itself. I should have done it so that then we can have a better understanding. Anyway, thinking you as my friend, Saketi Matva, I have rashly addressed you. Yaduktam Prasabham. I have addressed you as what? Rashly. Huh? Oh Krishna, oh Yadav, oh my friend. Hey Krishna, hey Yadav, hey Saketi. Now you might wonder, how is this address? Hey Krishna, hey Yadav, hey Saka. This is not rashly addressing. But Vishnu gives a very deep insight into this verse, which we will go through. Please forgive me whatever I may have done in madness or in love. Maya pramadat pranayena vapi. Pramadat means madness. Pranaya means out of love. Shama, tat shamastvam. Please forgive me. I have dishonored you many times. What are those times? Jesting as we relaxed, laying on the same bed, or sat or ate together. Vihar shayanasana bhojaneshu. Yat chava hasyartam. Asat kritopi. Asat, I have behaved not properly with you when we were doing vihar or shayan or bhojan. Sometimes alone, sometimes in front of many friends. Eko tata vyapya achyuta. Oh, infallible one, Achyuta, please excuse me for all these offenses. Tat shame, shamaye vam. Aham apramaya, not understanding our unlimited glories. Now, Arjuna is understanding the unlimited glories of Krishna when he reveals the Vishwarupa. So Prabhupada's purport will just read. This is a quotation from the Bhagavad Gita 11:41-42. In this verse, Arjuna is addressing Krishna, who is exhibiting his venusual form on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So that's it Prabhupada gives. But let us go to Vishnu-Chakra-Thakur. How this address, Hey Yadav, Hey Saka, is, insulting Krishna. So here is Vishnu-Chakra-Thakur commentary. Oh, I have committed the greatest offense to you, who are filled with such great powers. In this way, Arjuna manifests great regret. Oh Krishna, hey Krishna. So when Arjuna is to address Krishna, hey Krishna, he is to sarcastically address him. Because here is the reason. You are well known as the son of Vasudeva, who was not famous. Krishna was not famous as the son of Vasudeva. Because, the moment he was born, he was transferred to Gokul. And he was more known as a son of Nanda Maharaj. So, this is, you're not famous as a son of Vasudeva. I am famous as the son of Pandu, who is a human, a mediocre fighter, situated on the same chariot as another fighter. So, according to material calculations, Krishna was a Ardharati in terms of Kshatriya skills. I, Arjuna, am well known as the son of King Pandu. You are not well known as the king of Vasudeva. A great warrior fighting on his own chariot. I am a Atirata, you are a Ardharata. Atirata means one who can fight alone with 1,000 or 10,000 charioteers at the same time. Whereas Ardharata means one who cannot even fight with his equal also. So in that sense, Arjuna is to sarcastically call him as Hey Krishna. And Hey Yadav, oh Yadav, Hey Yadav, you do not have the king's position in the Yadu dynasty. That is how sarcastically Arjuna is to address. But I have kingship over the Puru dynasty. Oh friend, Hey Saka, my friendship with you is not because of the greatness of your forefathers, nor because of the reputation of your family. See, because, from that sense, forefathers, Yadus, I am not having friendship, or because of your reputation in the family. He's not well reputed coming from Vasudeva's family, but is simply based on familiarity. So that is how familiar, Arjuna was with Krishna. But this is based on pure love, and there is no, offense here, because I beg pardon for such rough words. Prasabham. I have spoken for intending the above meaning. So this was Arjuna's intention when Krishna, he used to address him as Hey Krishna, Hey Yadav, and Hey Saka. So you're my friend because of my greatness. I am coming from a great family. I am coming having a great dynasty from him. And so I am superior in one sense to you. So that was the bhav. The sense of the verse 41 is continued in 42 with the word Shame. And then this is how he's addressing. Now, another point is that I beg forgiveness for the thousands of offenses produced when you were alone. Ek. Now, insulting someone alone is, tolerable, but not in the presence of friends or when you are surrounded with friends who are joking. Tat shamakswam. Oh, Master, I beg you to forgive me. So, this is the problem that in Sakyaras, which is in awe and reverence, when the opulence Krishna exhibits, what happens? Then the Sakyaras becomes shitil. It becomes crippled. That was the point. So, but the Sakas of Krishna in Vraj Leela, although they see the opulence of Krishna, but their rasa remains pure because it is keval. It is out of pure love and attachment. So they will never consider Krishna as God. So this is the difference. So there are two types of Sakyaras, which is in awe and reverence, and which is in out of pure attachment or kevala. Anyone knows the names of these two types of Sakyaras? We have discussed this. It had come up in the discussion. Anyone knows or remembers? The difference in these two Sakyaras, which is in awe and reverence and without awe and reverence. Who knows the terms, the Sanskrit terms? Anyone should try. Okay, it is Gaurav Sakyaras. Gaurav means one understands the glories of Krishna. And other one is called as Vishramba Sakyaras. Vishramba means, very deep and intimate. So it's not that Krishna doesn't exhibit his opulence with his friends when he's with his friends. After the Govardhan Leela, Indra came to ask forgiveness with Surabhi, and after Indra did the Abhishek, all the Devtas headed by Brahma, Shiva, they all came and did a Maha Arti of Krishna and the paraphernalia from the higher realms. Huge Arti plates, huge, chamar, huge conch shell, and they were all, worshipping Krishna, and they had declared that you are the real Indra. And that's why they gave him the Govind. And the Govind Kund is there now. So they were worshipping Krishna, and they had done the Abhishek, and the Aarti was going on. All the Devtas headed by Brahma. Brahma was doing the Aarti. And Krishna was thinking, when will this all get over? I want to just go and play with my friends. And when it got over, by the time Krishna's friends saw all these Devtas, worshipping Krishna with such opulence, and they were just laughing and they started rushing towards Krishna. And the Devtas got scared. They just, without winding up the paraphernalia, they just left the sky. And they were just moving out in the sky. And the Sakas of Krishna, they just took the same paraphernalia and took the chamar, and out of pure attachment and love, they were offering the chamar to Krishna. They were doing the same deity worship, but it was completely out of pure love. Not that Krishna is God, but he's our pure friend. And the Devtas, when they were high in the sky, when they turned and they saw They were astounded by the bhakti the friends of Krishna have towards Krishna. Oh, our bhakti is in awe and reverence. See the pure attachment of Braj Bhakti. This is what is called as Ragatmika Bhakti, Ragamarg, pure attachment. This is what Mahaprabhu has come to give us. But to practice it is not so easy because we have to become qualified to practice Ananya Bhakti. Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadya Anavratam Anukulena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. And we know how this definition, we discussed this for 5 classes. So we have to become qualified to take up to the practice of Ananya Bhakti in order to enter into this Rag Marg. So this is the second example. Now the third example is in Madhuri Ras. Krishna yadi Rukminira Kaila Parihas Krishna chadi ben jani Rukminira Haila Trash. Although Krishna was joking, parihas, with Queen Rukmini, she was thinking that he was going to give up her company. Krishna chadi ben jani, and she was therefore shocked. Rukmina hoila tras. Tasya suduk bhaya shoka vinashta buddhi hasta chalat Velayato Vajanam Papat Dehascha Viklava Diya Sahaseva Muyan Rambeva Vata Vihata Pravikirya Keshan. This is the reference from the 10th canto. While Krishna was joking with Rukmini in Dwarka, she was full of distress. Sudukha. Dukha means distress. Sudukha means deep distress, full of distress, fear and lamentation. Bhaya shoka vinashta buddhi. She also lost her intelligence. Vinashta buddhi. She dropped her hand bangles. Hastad chalathat valayato. And the fan she was using to fan the Lord. Vajanam papat. Papat means it fell. Vajanam is the fan. Fan is called as Vajanam. Her hair became disarrayed and she fainted and fell suddenly. Tehascha viklavadya sahaseva muyan, appearing like a banana tree knocked down by a high wind. Rambeva vata vihata pravikirya keshan. Keshan means the hairs. The analogy is given how her hair suddenly, became disarrayed and just collapsed. So there's a whole analysis of the whole rasa, what is happening during this time when Rukmini is going through this. Of course, we don't have time to discuss, and neither I'm prepared also to discuss. But just to give an understanding that when somebody very dear to us, when we hear the news, suppose a very devoted wife hears that the husband has met with an accident. So moment she hears the news, the psychological effect is on the mind, that the mind becomes disturbed and the impact of the mind is affected on the body. So the body goes through these transformations, and the body might suddenly collapse, or she might faint and drop. So these are what we also have come across, but these are due to material lamentation and fear in the bodily consciousness. But what Rukmini is experiencing is completely on the spiritual platform also, we should understand, because it is in relation to Krishna. This verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:60-24 refers to Krishna speaking to Rukmini in his bedroom. Just to test her sincerity, he began to joke with her, presenting himself as a poor, incapable, and unfit to be her lover. Not understanding that he was joking, Rukmini took him seriously and thought that he wanted to leave her company. This misunderstanding made her very unhappy, and her whole body was affected. her fan and bangles fell to the floor, and she also fell down like a banana tree knocked down by the high winds. So I just gave a hint of what is actually internally happening when Rukmini hears this news. So Krishna was testing her sincerity. Krishna tests the sincerity of his devotees, and these tests, when we go through, they are difficult to handle. Once Kadam Kanan Maharaj personally told this, I have heard it from him, that one of his disciples was praying to Krishna Balram before the deity that please purify me quickly, please purify me quickly, I want to become pure. And after a few days, he had some health crisis. He was just going through a lot of health crisis. And then he came back to the deities and he said, please purify me slowly. He could not handle the things which were going on in his body, So when we are put into test, and then we can realize, how much we are in the body consciousness. Just like when the gold, although it is extracted from earth, it is pure, but still there are impurities. When that gold is put in fire, then all the impurities are removed. Similarly, when we are put to the test of fire by Krishna, then the impurities start coming out, then we cannot handle it. So this is now the third example given. Kevalar Shuddha Prema Aishwarya na jane, Aishwarya dekhilo Nija Sambandha se mane. Now, after giving up, after giving the understanding of how in Aishwarya Gyan, understanding the opulence of Krishna, these examples, but in Kevala Shuddha Prem, in the Shuddha Prem, Aishwarya na jane, they will not accept the Aishwarya Gyan. In the stage of Kevala, unalloyed devotion, this unalloyed devotion refers to Uttama Bhakti or Nirgun Bhakti or Ahetukvi Bhakti or Akinchana Bhakti, all are the same terms. Shuddha Bhakti. Here it is mentioned, Shuddha. A devotee does not consider the unlimited opulence of Krishna, Aishwarya na jane, even though he experiences it. This is a very important point to understand for us. It's not that those who are unalloyed devotees don't experience the opulence of Krishna. They experience it, but still they don't give any, in Hindi they say, daad nahi dete. So they don't give much importance. He takes seriously only his own relationship with Krishna. Nija sambandha se mane. Although he sees the Aishwarya. Purport. When a devotee reaches the stage of pure unalloyed devotion, especially in friendship with Krishna, he forgets the Lord's opulences, although he sees them, and he considers himself equal to Krishna. There is no question of actually comparing oneself to Krishna, but because the devotee is so advanced in Krishna consciousness, he is able to behave with Krishna as he would with an ordinary man. I can't even imagine, what kind of friendship this is at the transcendental platform with Krishna, which the Sakhas have. So just to give you a hint, when Krishna had lifted the Govardhan hill on his left hand with the littlemost finger, the last finger, the fifth finger, and he was holding the Govardhan mountain. So he was exhibiting his unlimited opulence to hold a mountain, that too in a finger, and a huge mountain. And all the Brajvasis in different rasas were relishing, Krishna, who is Akhila Rasamrit Murti. So the Sakas were relishing the Sakyaras. They were considering, hey, he's my friend, The Vatsalyaras devotees, oh, my Krishna must be tired. He must be hungry. He's holding this mountain for so long. His hand must be paining. The Madhuri Ras gopis were relishing Krishna as the Cupid. So Madhu Mangal, started making jokes. And he started telling, don't think that this Krishna is holding this Govardhan hill. I'm a Brahmana. By my mantras and powers, this hill is held by Krishna. I have given him the Shakti. And then he took his little stick and see, it's because of this stick, this Govardhan is being held. So like that, Madhumangal started boasting, you know. So Madhumangal was expressing his superior position compared to Krishna. Not only equal, but superior. So this is the kind of intimacy which Krishna's friends have with Krishna in Vraj Bhakti. So this is what is the invitation given to us by Srila Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this movement to enter into this kind of Vraj Bhakti, which is which is so rare. So then Krishna, when he heard these words, just to increase the rasa there, Krishna little shook, little shaked his finger, and the Govardhan mountain started shaking. Then Madhumangal suddenly got scared. He removed the stick. Oh, then he realized Krishna is holding. So this is the kind of thing what Prabhupada is explaining here. Any questions, any clarifications anyone has up till now, what we discussed? Or okay. Now, yeah. Yes, Partha Sarthi Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Here I just wanted to clarify that uh, why more importance is given to the the Vishramba Sakhya Ras as compared to Gaurav Sakhya Ras. Is it
Gaurav.
Gaurav Sakhya Ras is also unalloyed, no?
Okay, see, we have to study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu quite in depth. It is not that in Vaikuntha there are not they are not pure devotees. They are also pure devotees, but there is gradation in that purity also. So in Vaikuntha there is also Dasya Sakya is there. Sorry, Shanta and Dasya is there. But although there are also friends of the Lord in Vaikuntha, but there is no intimacy as it exhibits in the Vraj Leela or in Gokul Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan. Because there is no that intimacy, because there is Aishwarya Gyan. Oh, he's master, I cannot be near him. I cannot go near him because he's master, I am his servant. So the Lord also doesn't relish that. Aishwarya Jnana na mora prita. It's not pleasing to my heart, Krishna is saying. This lot of keeping a lot of distance and having this Aishwarya Gyan and worshipping the Lord. So Morasaka, Morasaka, my friends, and Mora Mata Pita, my mother and father, and the gopis, they have this intimacy where they don't consider and they sometimes chastise me also. This is very pleasing to me. This is there in the Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta, these verses. So the Aishwarya Gyan Bhakti, that as we are discussing, it is sankochit. Sankochit means it becomes crippled. There is no intimacy there. Whereas in Madhurya or in Kevala Bhakti, there is intimacy, and that's why this is very pleasing to Krishna. That's why Vraj Bhakti, that's why it is said Saka Shuddha Sakya Ras. There is Sakya Ras. What is Shuddha Sakya Ras now? That means there is higher level of purity. Arjuna is also a friend of Krishna in Sakya Ras. But the Arjuna in Vrindavan, he is having more intimacy compared to the Arjuna in Kurukshetra. So that is Shuddha Sakya Ras. So even in Sakya Ras, the friends of Krishna, there are again gradations. There are again different levels of gradations. There are 4 levels of gradations within the friends of Krishna. There are some friends of Krishna's who are called as Priya Sakas. Priya Sakas mean they are Sakas. There are Priya Sakas. They are Priya Narma Sakas. I don't remember the 4th one. It is there in the many of the works in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Jaiva Dharma and all. So the Priya Sarma Narma Sakas are so intimate friends of Krishna that they also arrange Krishna's meeting with the gopis in the Madhurya Ras. So like Sridhama and Madhumangal, they are Priya Narma Sakas. So they arrange Krishna's Madhurya pastimes with the gopis. So this is how even in Golok Vrindavan, where there is Vishramba Sakyaras, within that Sakya there are 4 levels of Sakyaras. So like that, the glory of first Vraj Bhakti has to be understood compared to the Vaikuntha Ras. Okay, fine, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. This first one is you said Priya Sakas, Priya Narma Sakas.
No, I don't I don't recollect the names. There are Sakas,
Okay.
Priya Sakas and Priya Narma Sakas, like that. And the 4th name I'm not able to remember. The exact terms I'll have to see, and maybe I can send you the details. But there are 4, I remember, as far as possible. I remember there are 4. Yeah. Birendra Yadav Prabhuji had raised his hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, is there any example of sadhana bhakti devotee who reaches in Visram Sakyaras? I mean, my point is whether Visram Sakyaras is the highest one, and having so much opulence and knowledge of Krishna, is it possible to realize? Is there any?
Can you come again? I still have to have a clear understanding what exactly you are asking.
Prabhu, with sadhana bhakti practice, is it possible to reach at this type of rasa Vishramba Sakyaras?
Yes. Okay, let me first answer this. It is possible only in Mahaprabhu's movement, and the movement which we are attached to, that is ISKCON. And if we practice sadhana bhakti, especially Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, of course, we have to become qualified to come to that stage where we take up to Ananya Bhakti. That happens only at the level of Madhyam Adhikari, when one is situated at a Sthita Pragya level, at this level of Nishtha. So when our bhajan becomes intensified, and from Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, you graduate to Raganuga sadhana bhakti. When you start the practice of Raganuga sadhana bhakti, at that time, you develop a particular mood that I want to worship Krishna in this mood, as a friend, as a lover, or as a parent. And you start following the eternal associates who worship Krishna in that mood. Those are Ragatmika Bhaktas, and you follow in their footsteps. You are a Raganuga Bhakta, Sadhaka, you are a Sadhaka. So from there, actually real bhakti begins. Till then, we are in the kindergarten school, you can say. From there, actually real bhakti begins. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kamshati. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labate param. Para bhakti begins from there. Brahma Bhuta means on the liberated platform. So Nishtha is the stage of liberated platform. So once you come to that platform, and then you have particular taste for relishing Krishna Bhakti and Krishna Katha. Maybe you like the pastimes of Krishna with the friends in the forest, or the pastimes of Mother Yashoda with Krishna, or the pastimes of the gopis. You start cultivating that bhakti. And it is possible. And those who have got that adhikar to practice Raganu Bhakti, they are even being here as sadhakas. Remember, they are still sadhakas because they are still practicing sadhana bhakti. Raganuga sadhana bhakti it is called. Raganuga sadhana bhakti, sadhana bhakti is right from the stage of full shraddha, purna shraddha I call it, to the stage of asakti. Till then it is all Raganuga sadhana. Then there is bhava bhakti and prema bhakti. So Raganuga bhakti in one sense begins from Nishtha, Ruchi and Asakti. When you are going through these stages, even when you are at these stages, you have a kind of in your dealings very friendly relationship with Krishna, with devotees you have, with the deities, and it can be identified. If you are at that also same level, then you can identify. Otherwise you cannot ever understand also that this devotee is very elevated, that he's relishing, he's situated in that rasa. It's difficult, very difficult to understand until one is on that level. It takes one to know one, they say, na? So like that. But you can find even in practicing sadhakas who have come to this platform, they are on this platform and practicing their sadhana, Raganuga sadhana, I mean. But it is very difficult to identify for the Kanishtas. That's a point. Is it clear, Prabhuji?
Yes, bro. Thank you. Thank you.
What was the second part of your question?
No, just wanted any example, concurrent example of practicing devotee reaching
Any
at this
example right now? Who is practicing?
Yes, bro. Practicing, I mean, concurrent example which we can relate, more relate.
Pardon?
I was just asking, bro, any concurrent example of the practicing devotees who reaches to this level?
Some current examples. See, even if I give you examples of some devotee who is on this, you will not be able to understand it.
Got it, bro. Got it.
We cannot understand. Prabhupada once, was in Australia giving a class, and suddenly one crazy man got up and he said, "Have you seen God?" He said, "Even if I say that I've seen God, what difference it makes to you?" But anyway, you sit down. Now you're, blocking my darshan of the deities. He said, "Sit down." I have seen. So even if somebody is, at that elevated platform and practicing his Raganuga sadhana, we cannot identify until we are on that platform. We are on the same platform. We cannot identify them. It's difficult.
Yes, bro. Thank you. Thank you.
So, okay. So, yes, so the last question we'll take up and then continue because we are in the last part of Bhakti Rūpa Śikṣā. Another 2 sessions we'll finish. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I just wanted to confirm. Bhava and Prema stage is the stage of Ragatmika.
No.
Is it so?
No. You have to study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu very meticulously. Ragatmika Bhaktas are eternal associates of Krishna in the spiritual world, in Golokunda. They are eternal associates. And they have rag. Rag means spontaneous attachment and love for Krishna. They practice spontaneous devotion. These are the eternal associates. Now, those who become qualified for Raganuga sadhana, they follow the Ragatmika Bhaktas. They follow in their footsteps, and that's why it is called as Raganuga Bhakti. So there is spontaneity in the Raganugas, but not directly towards Krishna, but spontaneity is there towards following the Ragatmika Bhaktas. I give this example of somebody is learning to play cricket and he is practicing with a coacher in the net. And over time after practice, he is inspired by a role model, say Sachin Tendulkar, and seeing his videos, he is now spontaneously practicing cricket, not based on the instructions of the trainer, but just seeing Sachin Tendulkar. how he, is playing the stroke. So in one sense, he has gone from the Vaidi level to the Raganuga level. He has not, manually in the mind, oh, I have to lift my left hand like this, and the coach is, saying like that, and accordingly do it. Now I do it spontaneously, seeing how the way, style Sachin Tendulkar is doing. So similarly, one who starts practicing Raganuga Bhakti, he is spontaneously attracted to follow in the footsteps of the eternal associates who are Ragatmika Bhaktas. So in that sense, there is spontaneity. But real spontaneous devotion is only practiced by the eternal associates. And even after this sadhaka, with the practice of Ragano Bhakti attains Siddhi, that is attains Bhava Bhakti. Bhava Bhakti in one sense is spontaneous. But still, he is in this material world. And even if he attains Prema, he's still having that spontaneity. But real spontaneity, raga, is exhibited when directly you're relishing rasa with Krishna in Vraj Leela, and that can happen when you attain Prema Bhakti and go to a planet where Krishna is performing his pastimes. You take birth there, and then it becomes spontaneous with little further training by the eternal associates. And then when you go back to the spiritual world, then you become an eternal associate, and then you are a Ragatmika Bhakta. Is it clear, Prabhuji?
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Anyone else has? Okay. I hope we did not go. Traya Chopanishadavischa Sankhyayogascha Satvate Upagiyamana Mahatamayam Harim Samayantatmajam. Now, the point what was made in that Kevala Shuddha Bhakti, Aishwarya Gyan, although they know, still Nija Sambandha Semani, they take seriously their only relationship with Krishna. So this is the reference. So this is the praman given by Kaviraj Goswami or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Mother Yashoda saw all the universes within Krishna's mouth, she was astonished for the time being. The Lord was worshipped like Indra and other demigods by the followers of three Vedas. Traya cha Upanishad Bishcha, who offer him sacrifices. He is worshipped as impersonal Brahman by the saintly persons who understood his greatness to the study of Upanishads. As the Purusha by the great philosophers who analytically study the universe. Sankhya Yogascha, as the all-pervading super soul by the yogis. Yogeshcha, and as the supreme personality of Godhead by devotees. Satvata. Satvata is Krishna is the supreme. Nevertheless, Mother Yashoda considered the Lord her own. So although Mother Yashoda saw the Upanishads worshipping there, Indra, Devatas worshipping, the Gyanis who worship the impersonal Brahman, who have Sankhya knowledge, the yogis worshipping the Purusha, and the great devotees worshipping the Supreme Personality. The Sattvatas are sometimes the Yadus also called. Yadus recognize that Krishna is supreme. But still, Mother Yashoda did not give importance to all that Aishwarya worship being done by all these great devotees. He said, "He's my son." He's my son. This verse is quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.845. Those who are spiritually advanced, mark this point, spiritually advanced, forget Krishna's opulence by the mercy of Yogamaya. So this happens by the Yogamaya's mercy. For instance, Mother Yashoda Krishna considered Krishna as an ordinary child. Tam matvatpajam avyaktam martyalingam adokshajam gopiko lukhale damna pabandh prakritam yatam. Although Krishna is beyond sun's perception, avyaktam, and is unmanifest to human beings, Martilingam Adakshajam, he takes up the guise of a human being with a material body. Thus, Mother Yashoda thought him to be her son, and she bound Lord Krishna with a rope to a wooden mortar as if he were an ordinary child. Gopi ko ulkhena damna. Damna means heapful. So, Mother Yashoda tied the Supreme Personality of Godhead with ropes. Actually, it was not the Supreme Personality of the Godhead Mother Yashoda tied, it is her son. Because she never considered the Lord as Supreme Personality of Godhead. If she had considered, then how dare she would tie. So because she thought this is my son, and she tied not by the ropes, but by the rope of her love for her son. This verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam is in reference with Lord Krishna's exhibiting himself as an ordinary child before Mother Yashoda. He was playing like a naughty boy, stealing butter and breaking butter pots. Mother Yashoda became disturbed and wanted to bind the Lord to a mortar used for pounding spices. In other words, she considered the Supreme Personality of Godhead an ordinary child. Prabhupada is just giving hint in the purport. Vaha Krishno Bhagavan Sridhamanam Parajita Vrishabham Bhadrasenastu Pralambo Rohini Sutam. Now, we saw in the Kevala Bhakti, the Vatsalya references. Now we are seeing the Kevala Bhakti Sakya reference, that is Sridham. When Krishna was defeated by Sridham, he had to carry him on his shoulders. Similarly, Bhadrasen carried Vrishabha and Pralamba carried Balram, the son of Rohini. So Krishna and his friends used to play, and Krishna was defeated by Sridham. And Krishna had to carry Sridham on his shoulders. So this is the deep intimacy of friendship what in Sakya Ras in Vraj Bhakti is there. This verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, this verse is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. When all the cowherd boys were playing in the forest of Vrindavan, the demon Pralambasur appeared in order to kidnap Krishna and Balram. The Asura appeared disguised in the form of a cowherd boy, but Krishna could understand his trick. Krishna therefore divided all the cowherd boys into two parties. One party belonged to Balram, and the other party belonged to Krishna himself. Ultimately, Krishna was defeated in this play, and according to the wager, the defeated party had to carry the victorious party on their shoulders. Krishna had to carry Sridhama on his shoulders, and Bhadrasen had to carry Vrishabh. The demon Pralambasur had to carry Balram, and when Balram mounted on his shoulders, the demon ran far away. Finally, the demon began to expand his body to a gigantic size, and Balram understood that he intended to kill him. Balram immediately struck the demon's head with his strong fist, and the demon fell down dead as if he were a snake whose head has been smashed. So this is regarding the Sakyaras. Now, the third Kevala Bhakti example is in the Madhurya Ras. So I'll not read the verse, I'll just go to the translation. My dearmost Krishna, you are worshipping me and giving up the company of all the other gopis who wanted to enjoy themselves with you. Thinking like this, Srimati Radharani considered herself Krishna's most beloved gopi. She had become proud and had left the Ras Leela with Krishna. In the deep forest, she said, my dear Krishna, I cannot walk anymore. You can take me wherever you like. When Srimati Radharani petitioned Krishna in this way, Krishna said, just get up on my shoulders. As soon as Srimati Radharani began to do so, he disappeared. Srimati Radharani then began to grieve over her request and Krishna's disappearance. This is in the Ras Leela pastime. Again, the intimacy of the Madhurya Ras has been discussed in this verse. These three verses are quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 30, 36 to 38. Pati Sutanvaya Prata Bandhavan Ati Vilangate Entachutagata Gati Vidastabod Gita Mohita Kitavayoshita Kastajannishi. Dear Krishna, we gopis have neglected the order of our husbands, sons, family, brothers, and friends. Pati Sutan Vaya Bhratar Bandhavan, and have left their company to come to you. You know everything about our desires. We have come only because we are attracted by the supreme music of your flute. Gati vidas tavo Gita mohita. But you are a great cheater. For who else would give up the company of young girls like us in the dead of the night? So here, the rasa in this discussion is given by Prabhupada. This verse quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-16 describes how the gopis went to the forest for Krishna's enjoyment in the dead of the night. So the gopis went to give enjoyment to Krishna. The gopis approached Krishna to enjoy themselves with him in the rasa dance. Krishna knew this very well, but he was superficially trying to avoid them. He is therefore addressed by the gopis as Kitava. Kitav means cheater. Kaitav we say, na? So when the gopis arrived, being attracted to the flute of Krishna, then Krishna started giving moral instructions. Oh, you're all married. You're chaste wives. And your husbands, you have to serve your husbands in the dead of the night. You cannot come and, be with a boy here. Please go back. Please go back. So when the gopis heard these instructions, they were very, very painful for them. So they had come to give enjoyment to Krishna, and Krishna is now neglecting them. Because he first attracted them to come dance with him, and yet when they actually came, neglecting the orders of their friends and relatives, he tried to avoid them by giving them so-called good instructions. They were all young girls, and they had come to him to be enjoyed. Now, please remember, when we even read this, these pastimes, because being in the material consciousness, being in the material world, we cannot understand this level of consciousness of the gopis. We as spirit souls are not enjoyers. We are enjoyed to be enjoyed by Krishna. And this disease is very deep rooted. So what is bhakti and what is sense gratification? Bhakti means to, to gratify the senses of Krishna. And material diseases that we want to gratify our own senses. This is the only difference. How could we avoid them? The gopis therefore express great disappointment in this verse. They came voluntarily, but Krishna was so cunning that he wanted to avoid their company. The gopis' lamentation was certainly very appropriate, and in this way, Krishna tested their sincerity. So Krishna also again tested their sincerity here. So Krishna tested the sincerity of even in Madhuri Ras with Rukmini. But this was a higher level of test in Madhuri Ras again. But this is Parakiya Ras. That is Swakya, that is wedded love. This is an unwedded love. These cunning instructions were too much for the gopis to tolerate. They therefore had a right to address Krishna as Kitava, a great cheater. So Rukmini can never call Krishna as cheater. Rukmini has Aishwarya Gyan. But the gopis can address Krishna like this because of their deep intimacy and Kevala Bhakti. Okay, so we will stop here. Any questions, any clarifications? So now, after discussing this Kevala Bhakti, there are only few more topics, which are the last topics of Rūpa Śikṣā, which in another maybe 3 sessions we'll be able to finish. We have around, let me check, 28 slides plus 13, 38, 45 slides. So 15 slides a class. That means it will take 3 classes more. So this week and next week, we will finish Rūpa Śikṣā. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Shri Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta ki jai. Hare Krishna.